Skechcraft is recorded in front of a live internet audience and supported by listeners like you. Please be sure to leave a review on iTunes, like and share our Facebook page, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All links can be found at sketchcraft.com. That's Sketchcraft, C-R-A-F-T, the name of the podcast.com. Remember, every little bit counts and it all helps to grow the show. Thanks. Welcome to Sketchcraft, the podcast for art, games, and process junkies. I'm Rob Duenas, full-time illustrator and graphic artist Esquire. This is an unedited podcast, which will probably contain strong language, so listener discretion is advised. Hello everybody, Rob D here. If you're just tuning in to Sketchcraft for the very first time, you should know that we typically rant about art, movie, and geek-related news stuffs chosen by either us or you, the audience. Joining in today is Arizona's own Brandon James from leadheavy.com. Freelance graphic artist, right, Brandon?
Yep.
Yay, good for you. And also from Arizona, Andy Bond, creator of the indie comic The Elvatron Chronicles and resident gamer.
Heyo.
And he rejoins me. Our third party dropped out for the night, so he's gonna pick up. One man loses, one man gains. So we got stuff to talk about this week. I'm gonna go ahead and start this off. I got some updates, and then we can kind of get into random shit. This week well, something I did last month finally got released. The cover to Retro Mag issue 2. Yeah, they actually turned that in like a month ago. So they were supposed to come out February 13th. Yeah, and then they missed that by a long shot. So they're printing sometime later this month. Today they finally released their cover. It's for River City Ransom Underground, the Kickstarter sequel to River City Ransom on the NES. So that was fun to do, and if no one knows about that, it was funny because I basically colored it twice. I threw it away. Brandon, you saw the original colors, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and was I right to throw that away and start over?
Yeah, it's just way better. I mean, everything you did was an improvement.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I don't personally enjoy being under any kind of deadline anymore. And when people give me some unfucking reasonable deadline, which is great because they still haven't shipped the fucking issue, you know? And I hate to curse so much, but it just irks at the wonderful fun Brandon's been having all week, meeting crazy deadlines, right, Brandon?
Yep.
Yay.
No sleep, all fun work.
So let's get into this really quick. So when we deal with this sort of work schedule stuff, Andy sort of creates his own schedule with his comic. So Andy, if you hit crunch time, you do that to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually around a convention or something, right? You probably like put together a whole issue the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and you start to regret all those weeks you were sitting around playing,
Playing games now. I'm actually working on stuff right now, so, you know.
Right. We've all been there, dude.
But, yeah, there's times where I'm just like, I can't do this right now, and I have to unwind, and that's where I'll find myself in front of the TV.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, what ends up happening is when you're on your own, it's that, I have till tomorrow, and then the reality is you don't. And so then there's this crunch you do on yourself, and at some point in your career, I just feel, hey, who's clicking?
That would be me, yeah. Sorry.
All right, sorry. And wasn't Brandon that time?
Oh, but you're not gonna
just check.
Put him over the grill? Come on.
He's new, Brandon. Like, like Damn, Brandon just
Pun-
wants you to suffer.
Punish him.
Yeah.
Punish him.
What is this fucking Mad Max and beyond?
This is
Thumbs down. You're
Skechcraft.
gonna
Kick
Caesar
him in the
him,
pit.
Brandon? Like, all right. Come on, man. We aren't a pack of wolves here. It's a podcast. Chill out. So, but yeah, we tend to do it to ourselves, and I sort of feel like this day and age for myself, I refuse to adhere to crunch times. I feel like any sane individual would give themselves sprints at the beginning of their workload and then allow them to sort of settle into slowing down at the end. Because when you start to like process files and ship things off to printers, if that's when you're like doing it at the nth hour, you're going to make all kinds of printing mistakes, all kinds of like errors you can't figure in for, um, and just general fucking nonsense. But Brandon, you're in that situation where your freelance, is like, hey, it's Thursday, we need it by Monday of last week, right?
All right.
Right. And they call upon you, you got to come through, right?
Right. Otherwise, I'll get overlooked next time.
Yeah,
So.
you're in that proving yourself zone. So, how's that going for you? What have you learned about sleep, food, and sunlight?
I am gonna die. That's pretty much what I feel like. Well, like the other Tuesday night, he hits me up 10 p.m. says, "I have a big assignment. Do you want it? It's obviously good money, but I need it by Wednesday night." And I'm like, okay, I got 24 hours to do 25 hours worth of work. So I busted ass for probably 8 hours, 10 hours straight, just going at it. And then I eventually had to pass out. I just went into my bedroom, fell asleep for a good chunk of the day, got up, and just went back to it. And I did kind of like you're saying, where I sprinted at the beginning. I got probably 10 out of 14 of the pages done, and then I kind of coasted the last 4. But man, I feel like death today. I mean,
It's going to take you a week to recover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually, you're saying lack of sun. I went outside and just stared in the direction of some of the sunlight, and I just stood there. I was just like, hopefully this.
You feel like in a Superman movie where it's like
I did.
regenerating, yeah, and you're closing your hands slowly and looking at the clench.
I put my fingertips over my eyeballs so that the sun was still hitting through there. That was my thought process, and I was just on autopilot of just human functions today. It's like, okay, wake up, go here, take a shower, but it's just all autopilot, and I gotta figure out a better way, because this is not gonna cut it. I'm gonna die. It'll be, you guys just be like, yeah, where's Brandon on the podcast? He's dead. He finished his assignment, but he's dead.
But I'm hoping this is how I turn it into ratings. Man died on the podcast from working.
I won't even have a name in the credit. They'll be like, oh, that other guy.
DOA.
He's dead.
Brandon's corpse. Say hi. Crickets. I'll just
You guys-
insert sound effect.
You guys can put some candles around my Cintiq.
Yeah.
Next time. But yeah, I mean, I need to figure out some food, sleep, sun schedule like you do. I mean, you got it down packed. I mean, obviously over years. I mean, you want to tell everybody kind of how your schedule goes, how you set it up?
Yeah, well, I found out that I'm a natural, like, night guy. I mean, I've been that way up my entire life since I was 4 or 5. Like, I'm a kid. I always stayed up late and worked late. So my natural rhythm is I'm usually up till about 2 a.m. I stop working no matter what I'm doing at 2 a.m. I have an hour of downtime. It's quiet. I'll have, usually I need like a glass of wine because alcohol knocks me out in 2 seconds. So like a half mini glass of wine. And I'll usually play like a video game or maybe watch an anime or something. As soon as I feel the wine hit, that's when I go to sleep. And I'm sleeping for 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours. Minimum 7, no more than 8. And then I get back up and I have about 2 hours to myself to clean, feed the dog, get stuff around the house. I have a very like legitimate cleaning schedule too, because I found that 1, you don't want your place to get fucked up, but 2, a lot of ideas come to me, and like I'm able to work out my day's stuff that way. And then I have walking time. I take 2 or 3 walks during the day. I always get up every hour when I'm working now, even if it's just to get up and get a glass of water and come back, just to stretch my legs. And these are things that like I would never have taken this advice 10 years ago. Like I would be like, fuck that, I'm working. You know,
Right.
I'm not moving. And I discovered that there was a big difference when I first started working from home full time, like in 2008 when I went to play. I wouldn't leave my desk. Like I remember, and I've said this before in the cast. Like I sat at my desk, and I worked sitting down. Got to be 18 hours at some point, and my feet swelled up. Couldn't fit my sandals. I couldn't put my sandals on. So that's not good. And I realized the importance of moving around and getting sunlight is really important. And it was hard to keep regular sleep schedule when you're like, hey, these guys are throwing work at me. Oh, I gotta turn this stuff down. So, you
Right.
know, I understand there's that. And in lieu of those situations, what I say it's at 85, 15%, 85-15 situation. 85% of the time, you're not getting hit up with those last minute things. Those are 15 percenters, right? So
Right.
85% of the time, you need to stick to a regular schedule and start eating some vegetables and fruits and shit like that. So when those 15% moments come along, that you're mentally and physically prepared for that challenge, because it's not going to get easier as you get older, you know?
Right.
It's just not going to happen. And your recuperation time afterwards going to take a while, you know, to get out too. I mean, like if you're going to be feeling this way for 3 or 4 days minimum, you know,
Right.
and it's going to take a full 7 days, and then in between there they could come back with last minute other stuff. So like, you know, you want to be prepared, but the rest of the time, that's why it's like have a set time for games and spending time with family and getting shit done, but also keep yourself as much to a personal schedule as possible. So when those things come up, you're able to prepare for it, you know. And then if you're
Right.
completely at the mercy of your own schedule, you just can't fuck around, man. Like, you can't get up in the day and be like, I'm gonna be on the phone for 6 hours, and you know, and I'm gonna be like kind of tagging some stuff. I mean, you gotta like sit down and just get your shit done. I mean, I don't really have that problem, but there are days when I'm like, hey, the phone's ringing a little too much, you know. So,
Right. I
um,
mean, and I know Andy, you like to sit and have like a coffee outside, right, to get you kind of self focused and start writing
Uh,
and such.
well, that depends. I mean, what I do when I start up is, I'll do a walk. I do when I wake up, I have to have at least 2 hours to myself, or even an hour of just checking things. I check the Facebook, check the IGN, check whatever. Then I can start moving, and in between that, I'm eating breakfast. I'm having a bowl of cereal or something just to get kind of build up some energy. Then I start doing some quick sketches, probably, just stupid things, and then sometimes those turn out into big stuff. But the coffee thing, that's if I have to go to work and I
Mhm.
decide I want to go there early. So I'll just go and grab something to drink and kind of sit there and put on some music and kind of focus with the music by ignoring the rest of the world. So that's kind of how I do it.
yeah, you know, and the reason why I really stress this is you know, people listen to the cast and it's like, you know, oh Rob, you know, we teach people how to use Photoshop, and like I can teach you how to use Photoshop. However, I can't really like. I think what's more important is knowing like when to stop using Photoshop, like, because it will kill you. Like it's just a career that is 90% mental, you know, and we're always sitting and we're always sort of like, I find artists tend to screw themselves a lot of times too. Like you're in a situation where you're reacting to life. Like I don't have a lot of money, I got to take on work. Oh, a con's coming up, I didn't prepare for the last 3 months, so I'm gonna make my shit now. And then it's like, and then we all get really proud of ourselves and go on Facebook and it's like, I suffered today the most, I am the greatest artist ever, you know, look at what I did, and I did it with no sleep. And at some point, like, I know for myself, I ran into this my complete threshold for it when I worked at GameFan, because it was like that every day with Dave. Like every day it was like, oh fuck, dude, Dave just, you know, threw away half the issue, and I got all this new stuff coming in. I got to get assets, and this will be the one, and this was the one that's going to make us rich and pay all the bills, and we're going to get, you know, 120 grand in ad revenue, and everything's going to be taken care of, and it just wasn't happening, you know. And it was like every month, and I put on a lot of weight and everything else, and so like I've had to like undo all those knots in my life, and
Right.
I just
Break all
really,
the habits.
yeah, and completely like I got hit up by, name any, like, aside from the big two, name every other comic company I got hit up the last month over doing stuff, right? and I've had to be like, no, like, no, thank you, appreciate it, but no. And I just feel like at this point in my career, like I'm trying to do the George Costanza opposite maneuver, like anything I would have used to have done, I'm doing the opposite. Hey Rob, we got an offer. No. I'm just gonna keep making the stuff I plan on making, and I feel like that is going to at least because I can't control whether something makes me rich, but I can definitely control whether something makes me crazy. And like
Right.
even this last cover, they're hella cool people over at Retro. Like I like the magazine, I like the people, but I was getting a taste again of the shit I threw away a year ago. With the deadline and the back and forth, and I was just like, I just told him, I said, dude, you got to find someone else. Like because like I as much as I enjoy drawing the covers, it doesn't add anything to my life really. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of cool,
Right.
but I have enough work to do for myself that I certainly am not going to put myself in that position. Likewise, you can't get into the position where you're like, it's never not pertinent to keep yourself working. You know what I mean? Like you could be like, oh, say I was gonna get this one thing. I was gonna color this, Street Fighter thing today. Well, I got like a third of it colored. Like, no, you actually have to color it. Like your shit still has to get done, even if the fucking technical shit happens. Like, let me talk about something else really quick. I got into if everyone knows, I stream live like when I'm coloring and drawing as much as possible through the Google Hangouts and on the YouTube channel. Shameless self promotion, and and I found out through Google Hangouts that it could stream in HD if like I had a better internet service. I had like the turbo or whatever. I didn't have the fucking extreme bullshit. So I paid for it. I'm like, fine, I'll get the extreme. So I'll have 720p videos. People could see when I'm painting in the white highlights, that kind of shit. And so they turned it on, and I had to get their cable modem that comes in. And ever since I did that, I was getting intermittent fucking computer droppage. Like it would be out 30 times a day for 5 minutes. Drop, drop, working. And Brandon, you've even noticed, right? It's like we're streaming and then boom, crash, right?
Right.
Boom, crash. And how many times before I got that modem did that ever happen? Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, never. So I had to do all my own technical research because when you're a freelance illustrator, artist, creative type, whatever, you got to be your own IT guy. Like, like I have friends who'd always laugh at me because I couldn't repair a car, but I'm like, I don't plan on driving for a living. Like I
Right.
know how to repair the computer though, fucker. Like I don't have to go to the Geek Squad. And so, this was a situation where basically I came to the consensus that it was the modem because it was this modem router combo, and I had to go through Time Warner because I don't have a choice in my cable providers. I had to have them come out and change the router out just to prove the point. I had them change the router to a new one. I turned the service down to turbo, and it still was doing it. So then I had them switch the service back up to extreme. Went down, bought $100 modem from fucking Best Buy, plugged it in, had them activate it, and it's been flawless since. So my advice is, if you're ever having this issue as an artist, is just never get anything that is a combo or comes with like if a cable company will give you an option of buying your own equipment separately from the store, do it. Because I just feel the shit they're using is stuff that would never work or play ball in retail. Case in point, the router they handed me is the size of an Xbox One, dude. Like,
Jesus.
it's fucking huge. It's light as shit too. Like it's got plenty of air in there. Like it's just huge. And the cable modem I bought, it's a Motorola Ares. It's the same manufacturer. It's like the size of it's like my DS, and it just works, And I have a separate Netgear router that is everything's fine, Like, and I was coloring the Venom last night, 5 hours straight, no interruptions,
Right.
So.
And we cut out on the Spider-Man, 3 times?
3 times, dude. I just couldn't deal with it anymore, So, yeah, So that was a nightmare to deal with, and that takes toll out of you too. I mean, part of the show is a Zen atmosphere, and so like, when you're dealing with the cable company and you're like, hey, I want to throw this router out the window. I don't want to sit down and fucking paint beautiful pictures, After that, I want to, yeah, Randy, you ever have that problem? Like, I just want to go out there and take a baseball bat,
I know. I've been doing that the last week. It was like last night I got so mad about something that I couldn't even sleep. I was just tossing and turning like, this is ridiculous. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep just because I'm mad,
Yeah, I'm really done with it myself. Like as an artist, it's like I just don't think I have it in me anymore. You know, like I'm hitting that point in my life where it's like, all right, cool, shit's fucked up. You know, like what can I do today? I'm not gonna focus on what I couldn't. You know, I think the downside is, you know, I feel like those companies are designed to give you a runaround. You know,
Right.
and it's like if you go on to like Tom's Hardware and you're like, what's going on? Everyone's gonna be like, post your stats and your stats and your stats. And I think at the end of the day, dude, all those fucking things don't matter. The shit works or it doesn't work, you know, and you have to basically try one of everything until it does. And just give yourself the time. And, you know, if you're going to miss a deadline, hey, just admit in the beginning you're going to miss it or you're not going to be able to stream. And don't get yourself worked up over the fucking issue. And there's no way, I seriously doubt people listening to the podcast are going to be like, my computer router went out at 3 2 in the morning. Rob said I should chill out. I doubt that, you know. I doubt I'll listen to that, but I'm really trying hard this year to do the opposite of how I live my entire art career so far. And turning down unnecessary work, although that may seem beneficial now, probably isn't in the long run. And getting worked up over shit I have no control over, i.e., cable companies, is a high priority for me. So I've talked ear off. I want to have you guys take over really quick. Brandon, go ahead and talk about some fucking trailer news or whatever. Go ahead.
Transformers 4. This shit looks badass. Andy, tell everyone how badass it looks.
I think it's gonna suck. No, actually, I'm really pumped for it. I like that they actually changed the cast for it. Like a lot of people give Mark Wahlberg a hard time, but I think he's gonna be awesome in this. I like that it's future from where Transformers 3 left off, and the Dinobots. How are you not excited for the Dinobots?
I like it when we start off with words like I love prefaces like some people say intro. And a lot of people give Mark Wahlberg a hard time, and I'm like, it's a shame that he still gets Marky Mark, right? Guys like almost 50.
I wanted to say it. I wanted to say it. I was gonna say, is the Funky Bunch in it?
You're a dick. Yeah, I mean, well, he has been in bad films. I mean, we all saw The Happening, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Like, so
like
I'll give credit. The new trailer looked pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it looked fantastic.
And is Optimus Prime not like in Voltron pose right there with the sword? Like, isn't that classic?
Yeah.
Lion Voltron.
Well, he goes Ultron to He-Man when he jumps on to Grimlock.
See, I led that over to Andy because Andy was so excited. He texted me that he shared the trailer on his Facebook, so I knew he really, really was like.
Well, Transformers is good, but what I'm most excited about is the other giant.
Godzilla!
Holy crap, man! I was like, I don't care if nobody wants to see it with me. Opening night, I'll be by myself in IMAX watching that thing.
Only Matthew Broderick could get in the way of you enjoying that film, right?
Actually, no. That movie didn't bother me until the end with all the babies.
What?
Yeah, I hated the babies.
The whole movie was so bad. Hey, this is radioactive waste. I'm Matthew Broderick. I'll just pick it up and shake hands and.
Yeah, they tried, but it was the million babies in Madison Square Garden that's what I hated the most.
When they when they were in the popcorn.
Yeah.
And the popcorn buckets around their heads.
It's like very
Gremlins. Yeah.
Gremlins. Yeah. These meat-eating creatures are enjoying freaking popcorn. Give me a break.
Well, the Gremlins, like. I know. I'm like, oh, we've entered Gremlin territory without the luxury of having Joe Dante or Steven Spielberg involved. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
I'll say this about Godzilla. It seems that from what I've seen so far, it looks like it will. I mean, look, I like the director. He did Monsters. And it seems that it's going to somehow successfully merge Call of Duty and Battlefield with Cloverfield. So Cloverfield, right? Yeah, right?
Clover of Duty.
Clover of Duty. That doesn't sound right. So, but I think more or less, a giant Kaiju monster DLC in Battlefield 4 coming, right? Gotta be, right?
Oh, you know what? I was actually talking about this at work. That Evolve game. If they would just come out with a Godzilla skin, a DLC or pre-order bonus for that thing, I think it would sell like crazy.
Tell people what platform that's on, if not everyone knows what you're talking about.
Evolve's going to be out for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Right.
So it's gonna be like a multiplayer game kind of. It's made from the guys I think who did Left 4 Dead, and you play as four guys, like a 4-man cell, going after a giant creature that's by himself, controlled by a person. And the longer the matches go, the more the creature gets stronger. And so you have to go after that guy, but at the same time you have to worry about the forest inhabitants because they'll come after you as well. But the game's gonna be cool. But if you make a Godzilla skin for this thing, like I'll pre-order it in a heartbeat, and I'm sure most people would too.
Cool. And then the other trailer we got is Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2,
Oh,
the
dead
new
silence.
video game.
Dead silence.
I'm iffy on it.
I hope it bombs so hard. I just hope it bombs so hard, and then they're just like, "Fuck it, we will change Spider-Man's sexuality, and we're gonna change everything." I mean, Andy's optimistic. I think it looks horrible.
I thought it was going to be good, and then they introduced the Green Goblin, and now I'm starting to see that whole Spider-Man 3 thing come around where there's too many villains in one movie. Or too many new villains anyway. You're introducing 3 new ones in a new series. You kind of slow it down a little bit.
The next movie will be 6, the Sinister Six.
They're working on that movie, though. They're leading up to that.
Yeah, I
So
saw.
they want to have one new Spider-Man movie every year, whether he's in it or not.
Right, they'll have a Venom spinoff, a Sinister
Which I
Six
say,
spinoff.
bring it on, dude, because I want to see it crash and burn. The sooner Marvel gets the rights back to Spider-Man, the sooner we can all live a happy life.
Come on, you don't want to see a Mysterio movie?
No, I worked on those fucking. I worked on the whole fucking I've been working on Spider-Man shirts since 2, and I'm telling you, man, like it was just a painful nightmare to sit through every one of them, dude. Like even 2, man. I'll go back to the Raimi films. Like they're fun, but I dare you to sit through them now. They don't hold up very well.
No,
Like,
they're horrible now.
Parts
My
of them
nephew
are,
watches it.
yeah, parts of them you're like, oh, that's cool. But I try to remind people, everyone goes, Spider-Man 2 is the best. I'm like, you're talking about a movie where he forgot his powers. I don't. He was bit by a radioactive spider. He didn't just choose to be Spider-Man. Like, like I'm gonna hang up. Like he literally couldn't lift anything, and his claws disappeared. Like I just forgot. I forgot how to be a mutant. Like I don't. It's a weird movie, man.
There's so much wrong with that. I hated the suit for those ones too. The silver webbing was horrible. I hated that.
I don't like that they switched the costume back to the original for this new Spider-Man. I liked the revision, the new cool one they had for the last Spider-Man movie with the dark eyes and the dark blue and the cool cutouts. I don't know. I don't like the fact
I'm
that
different from all you people. I feel Spider-Man should exist in the 60s. So if I had my way, Marvel would have it back, and Spider-Man would take place in between Captain America and Iron Man 1 in New York in the 60s, So I don't know, dude. Like, it's just these movies add nothing new, and all they do is reek of like generic sci-fi techno shit. And the movies are broke. Like I try to get back to that first film, and like you have a movie where, he's like it was supposed to be about the secret of his parents, and then they add this sequence where he's like searching through Google, and you're seeing where his parents were in a plane crash, and then halfway through the movie he's like yelling at Uncle Ben, "What happened to my parents?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, they died in the crash. You fucking read the Google page, and he didn't because that's some shit they added in post, and you know what I mean, like, and all the parent shit that we saw in the trailers was cut out the movie, and I can't, I love Sony, but Sony movies I'm not a fan of, like Sony movie division I largely don't have an interest in as much, so yeah, dude, the Spider-Man 2 thing, I hope they get what they deserve, as far as I'm concerned.
It'll do well. I mean, regardless of what we have to say about it.
We say that, but to us, like, here's the thing, Andy, right? Technically, Superman Returns did well, but the movie studios have expectations, right?
That's true.
They're expecting $1 billion worldwide. If they make 480 million worldwide, that's not going to work for them. And if the toy sales are non-existent, and I can tell you right now, clothing sales on Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, were not even 1/10 what Spider-Man 3 was. So, like, it hasn't translated to the kids,
Why do you think that is?
Well, one, it has all that lovey-dovey shit. I could tell you, a kid in the theater was yawning in front of me the whole fucking time. You know, like, and there isn't enough like I don't want to say relevant humor, but for some reason, there's a big difference between like a kid sitting. I watch kids, man, all the time. When I go to the theaters and they're sitting watching Captain America or Iron Man, they're engaged more than they are with that Spider-Man movie. And I always feel like it's a zeitgeist situation. I don't feel the people making these films are any more attached to it than the audience. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I think the movies were sort of made because they have to make them to retain Spider-Man. If they don't put this stuff into production, Disney and Marvel will take the movies back, and that's why you see Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Everyone's ramping up because Ghost Rider,
Uh,
Marvel got it back, right? Daredevil, Marvel got it back. So if this does not go into production, they will lose it
well, then they're gonna get Fantastic Four back because that's
eventually.
gonna be an abomination.
Yeah. Well, or it'll do the same as Silver Surfer, which was 100 million worldwide or something, which is not what they want, right? They're going to spend if they spend $100 million, they need to make back 600 million wide, 600 million worldwide. Like, and then they need toys, and I guarantee you this Fantastic Four movie will do nothing in toys and T-shirts, guaranteed.
Right.
And
Well,
that's go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say, like with the new Spider-Man movie, that's probably why the Rhino looks like a giant toy. I mean, obviously to sell it. It's not.
Yeah, he's got a battle suit, right?
He's got a big battle suit, and the toy will have where his rhino shoots out of his nose, and his horn shoots out, and he shoots rockets off his back.
And Optimus Prime can ride them.
Right, he just Optimus Prime. Kids
Make
grabs
a whole
Optimus
movie
Prime
out of
toy.
toys. But it doesn't always work. I mean, look, the GI Joe stuff hasn't done anything, toy and T-shirt wise, and that's why it's always a iffy on what they're going to do, how much they're going to spend on it. So it's pretty complicated when you get into the branding. Who is that?
That was me. Sorry.
All right, Andy. You too. You were
Yeah, I
pretty
know.
good the last cast.
I thought I had put that on silent, but
It's all right. You'll learn. It took Brandon almost a year.
I'm not touch. I see.
To
I
this
learned
day,
now.
he's learned.
I don't touch. I'm not on my computer. I'm not touching anything. I sit as still as possible as a fat guy I can. I'm not. I'm just sitting here not moving.
Trying not to offend.
I mean, parts of me move, but
well, that's between you and your.
talking about my fat.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, I just want to correct you, just so before someone posts a comment, it was Bing, not Google, that Spider-Man used, which was ridiculous because no one uses Bing. And also to go back to the new Spider-Man movie, when Andy was talking about Green Goblin, I think he looks like Billy Idol.
no way, man. He looks like not Billy Idol.
He looks like Beavis,
David
dude.
Bowie. Yeah.
No, he looks like Beavis. Go look at Beavis and go look at like when they did the Beavis and Butthead realistic version. Like and go, yeah, and go look at Dahan with his fried out hair and shit.
Right, it's just.
Yeah, he looks like a walking Beavis, and I don't know, guys. I mean, it's like I learned this with the first X-Men movie. Like I don't really like pre-production photos. Like I find those never work. Like remember when the production photos for like the Joker appeared on the net, and Ledger's hair doesn't work. It's an environment and mood, right? There's nothing about Electro I've seen that gets me excited, and it isn't because a black man's playing him or anything else. It's that he's like, it's like when Mark Webb, the director, was online doing some edit. He's like, well, what do you do to stop a guy who's electrical? How do you stop it? And people are like, water, like, like just take a hose, That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess the way they're going with the movies is that Osborn's behind everything, and everyone has an electrical, has a power. It's almost like Straczynski. Remember when he was doing the totemic power thing in Spider-Man, right? Where each character was an animal, and it's like technically his villains are stacked on a totem pole, and that storyline went nowhere.
The hierarchy of it.
Yeah, and he had like that Obi-Wan character showed up to teach him how to his arachnid powers, and none of it went anywhere. So it's like, I sort of feel for me, I just feel like the movies are sort of by number at this point, Here's the hero's journey, and guess what's gonna happen to Gwen Stacy, and and it's just like, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. When a Thor movie comes out, I'm like, what the fuck are they gonna do? Because I don't fucking know anything about Thor. So I'm like, I guess something's gonna happen.
I still don't know what the ether is. I don't know what the ether is.
Let me tell you what it is. It's called you find a way to get spaceships in this movie fast.
Pew 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 and lasers.
Yeah, spaceships. But it's like Benny from Lego Movie, spaceship. That's how we make Thor work, you know. Put spaceships in Doctor Who and Thor, and I guess I can sit through it. But with the Spider-Man movie, like I was really looking forward to it because I like Andrew Garfield, and I really like Social Network, and I thought Sally Field great. But the reality is these are sort of just generic retelling, and so at this point, man. Uh, I hate it when we talk more about the shit we don't like, you
Right.
know? Turns into like every cast turns into a rant against Star Wars, but
Well, if they kill Gwen Stacy, I'm really gonna like this movie. That's the one thing I want out of this movie. She has to die.
you know what I hope? Like I'm gonna have a drinking shot game with myself in this one. Like, how many times are they gonna just knock off Jim Cameron in the film? You know, like, cause the last time was like paint by Jim Cameron numbers. Like, oh, here's the smoke-filled lab and the fucking blinker thing going, and he's looking. Now he's shooting the lizard guy, just like in T2. Like he's doing shotgun arm, and it's like there's just a lot of James Cameron moments, like really bad knockoffs in that film. And I'm wondering how many times I'll do it in this one. But I don't know. Like I doubt I'll pay to go see it. I hate to say it. I'll torrent the fucking film, but I'll do everything I can to not pay money to go see Spider-Man.
I don't want to see it, but I know I'll probably end up double dating it with Andy and his
It's just
girl.
you two, or you two and the girl.
You know, I like seeing movies with Andy because we, for some reason, I mean, me and Andy get along great, but when we go see a movie, I don't think we ever agree on it. We went and saw Wolverine, and I fucking hated it. I hated it so bad. I was so mad at the end of it, and he's like, "Oh, it was so awesome," and I almost wanted to end my friendship. I was so mad. I was like, "How can you like this fucking movie? It's so he's drilling into his bone claws, and and Andy will like the Spider-Man too, and I won't like it, and then I won't want to talk to him for a day.
Hey, as long as Gwen Stacy dies, I will like the movie.
It won't
If she
happen.
doesn't, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know what I think they're gonna do? They're gonna do those multiple almost dying shots where she's falling, but then catches them at the last minute. And they're gonna do like 4 times before it even happens. Like they're trying to
Oh,
build
she
it up.
almost, I caught you.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
It's like in the trailer, you know, she's falling, and then I was like, oh crap, you know, you see him like shooting down, and it looks like he's in a clock or something. Like, oh, she's gonna die, and then in the trailer it shows her holding on. And I'm like, what is going on? I hope
And
something just comes down and
the glider's
hits
gonna
her.
come through and hit it. The glider's gonna come through. She's gonna drop.
Yeah, we're
Now,
throwing a pumpkin bomb.
I think they're gonna drag it out to the third movie so you can develop more of the. So she'll die, I think, at the beginning of the third movie, and then step in Mary Jane to console him, you know, through the movie. And it's gonna be that storyline where he throws away the mask and he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore, and then Mary Jane gets in trouble and he's like, oh, I'll be Spider-Man again. That was a good weekend I had off, and then he'll go back to being Spider-Man.
He might dance in that week that he's off.
You know, good moments. Yeah. Rob, do you want to talk about any other topics I had, save them for next time, or move on?
What is this art theft and why it will never go away?
Okay. Recently, this new guy, Liam Yoke or something, I don't even know if it's his real name, posted a Mike DeBalfo drawing saying, oh, I just created this new character. And it was a drawing of Mike's wife, which he stole directly from Mike DeBalfo's page. And then once, you know, it's shared, I shared it, then, you know, you come to attention that it's everybody else's art. He's stolen a bunch of art, whether it's his real name or not. I think as long as we have things like DeviantArt and sites where you can share and torrent other stuff, that art theft in the sense of just directly copying and pasting someone else's art will never go away, as long as there's all these social medias where we share. And, you know, me and you talked about that there'll always be influences or even taking direct poses like...
Well, let me break it down. I'll break it down because
there you
it's
go.
confusing, right?
There you go.
So you have the perfectly acceptable, I have influences in my life, right? Every artist has them. You know, that's not stealing. That's just you come from an age and era. That's like you could tell in a movie. If you have 3 movies set in 1930 and each one was made in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, you can tell which time the movie was made in, right? Even though they're all set in the 30s, because each era has its own
Style.
visage, style, zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it. So you have influences, right? And a lot of people go, "Oh, you draw like so and so," because they see that in your art, and they go, "You need to come up with your own shit." And I can get all into how in Western art, we sort of I believe the way art is taught in the West is we place individuality over construction and foundational issues, right? So the minute you go to an art class, like in junior high or whatever, it's about like finding your inner self and how you can express yourself, rather than learning actually how to draw. Because we don't really make a living in art in this country, like in the East, when Japan, South Korea, they animate. That's a really viable industry. A lot of man hours, so it's like everyone learns how to animate, because even in South Korea, if you can't work, you could always animate. So it's the complete opposite here. We learn about individuality. Because of individuality being first, if anyone sees anything that isn't something they haven't seen before, they'll immediately go, "You draw like so and so. You
They'll
suck."
pigeonhole you.
Yeah, and it's a stupid game. You got to get past it. Then you have the next level down where you pay homages, and those are like when I did the Big Dog Inc. cover. That's like Spider-Man issue 1, and then you put like After Todd, in the corner. And this happens all the time, right? Like an homage is where it's like the cover was made.
Andy's done it.
Yeah, I did it. I did a Spider-Man cover myself.
And you always put like after something, or I mean, it's your homage
Yeah.
in something. Yeah, it's no big deal, right? So that's one. Then you have the next tier down, which I discovered in the '90s when I would buy a lot of Extreme comics, Rob Liefeld comics. Like I made the example, I have sitting right in my hand now, right here, the Extreme Studio Tour book from '94, where
Okay.
Liefeld took a Appleseed cover and drew Shaft and Badrock into the characters. And there's no like after Appleseed on there. He just swiped the fucking pose and put his characters in there. So, that's like uncredited swiping, right? And that's sketchy enough. You know what I mean? Like that's like, well,
Right.
apparently it hasn't hurt Rob Liefeld's career, but I do ethically think that's it's not good, dude. Then you have the final fait complete. I just took someone else's efforts and put my name on it and or sold it on eBay. like oh, Rob
Right.
has a bunch of cool art that's going on my cell phone, cover store, So, and that's where the internet's done really good over the last few years of policing itself in a way. I sort of feel like the big breakthrough on that was the Rob Granito case, right? Where this guy was like taking Bill Watterson drawings and taking, Ethan Van Cyber covers and printing them out and painting around them and going to cons and selling them as his own work,
Right.
And so he sort of got caught. And this kid's what? He's 18, you said?
Yeah.
And so he
18.
just goes into DeValfo shit and starts, collecting internet fame with I drew this and I drew that. And what that does, and I felt like the unintended side effect of that, guys, is that people start to make weird rules about art. And they'll go, if you see someone that has multiple styles in their fucking portfolio, they're stealing art,
Right.
And
Which
I'm
is
like,
crap.
I get that, but then I've been accused of stealing art because people will look at my Splatterhouse and then they'll look at like my watercolor, you know what I mean? And then they'll look at like my fucking critters piece and be like, you couldn't have done that, Like,
Right.
it's
So
just like,
they'll accuse versatility as being non-authentic art.
right, which is why I've always had the steps and everything else, because I'm like, I could prove my work, I
Right.
make myself as open source as possible, and then you just gotta fucking suck it, So, but yeah, it does bring up this sort of thing, and then plus, I think the other end of that is that artists can start to, they can almost react in a, I hate to use political statements because they're so polarizing, but you can really react and like, well, that's it. Now we're gonna I'm never putting my stuff on the internet. I'm gonna watermark everything. Everything's fucking 400 pixels. Like all your fans now get to suffer. Like Capullo did that recently, right? When he was like, people are taking my stuff and making prints of the pencils, so no more pencils on my fucking DeviantArt.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's a real shame because the people like the 98% of the fans who don't do that now have to suffer because 3% are fucking and these 3%ers, guess what they're going to do, Greg? They're going to take Batman Unwrapped that comes out in August and they're going to scan it in and do it anyway. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like they don't care, dude. Like
They'll find a way.
yeah. Like it doesn't hurt sales. It actually doesn't. Like all it does is hurt your fans. So this kid who's 18, dude, like it's ridiculous for fans for creators to react in that way, because I feel that um, that 18-year-old guy can't do that and work. It's only enables him to have internet fame, which means nothing. Like if you, I work with people who have 150,000 Facebook likes, right? And that doesn't translate into $1. They're working as a waiter at fucking Starbucks. You know what I mean? But I have 150,000 Facebook likes. Like that's internet money. It doesn't mean anything. So like that 18-year-old who's snagging Mike's work, it's not going to work if he gets a job. Like say he has that portfolio and IDW hits him up and is like, "Hey, we want you to draw some stuff." Well, he can't turn in. You know, if Zenoscope says we want you to do some shit, he can't turn in Mike's work to
Right.
Zenoscope. You know, so like it's irrelevant. I mean, do you guys have anything to add to this, or you disagree, or?
I had something, I just lost it.
You lost it.
Nah, I lost it.
No big deal.
You lost it.
No big deal. So yeah, I mean, if you thieve in art, you'll just get caught, and it's really an immature thing. And I learned this going to San Diego Comic Con when I was a kid, and I used to watch the portfolio reviews. I never stood in the line. I just watch portfolio review to portfolio review, and you'd see these guys who take panels from different comics and they would turn in, sequentials, and you could tell they came from different comics. I mean, you could really tell once you know your shit. You can tell and see the understructure really easily. It's like
Right.
the Matrix where you see the code. Like,
Right.
so it's like I could just tell when something was light boarded. I could tell when something was where the thought process came, because things won't match up. And this is why I always say, like, hey, when Brandon says, "Rob, what do you think about something I did?" Half the time I'm like, "Well, what were you attempting to do?"
Right.
Because
What was your?
if I know your attempt was to do something, I could tell whether it met that or not, versus being like, well, here's how I would draw it, which is irrelevant. And I think with guys that steal art or even lift, you can tell like that Extreme Studio Tours, he's never done a cover with any of that stuff like that on there ever. Like it was so, I don't know, there's just something very different about it, It's just funny, and then you're like, yeah, that's because he fucking jacked it, and so,
Right.
whatever. So. But yeah, it's never going away, and I think artists can't react in that manner. I mean, what are you supposed to do as a company, right? So Andy, let's say someone bootlegs all your fucking comics, puts them on a torrent. You know what I mean? What do you? No more fucking digital comics. That torrent's probably helping you more than hurting you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
can see it from both points. Like, I don't know, if I want my stuff torrented, I'm gonna put it out myself. That'd be my decision. But you're outright taking that decision away from me, and that's gonna piss me off, and that's gonna make me focus on you, and you don't want me to do it in that light.
Yeah, that's where you go in contact and say take it down. I mean,
Yeah.
I've told people that when I
Cease and
stick my stuff on
desist.
eBay. Yeah, well, it's just a verbal, hey, do it, or I'll
Well,
just,
yeah, but still, it's
because you can't really. I mean, when you really come down to like suing people, good luck.
right. No, but yeah, I mean, it's along the same lines as
Right.
hey.
I'm gonna put out Elva Kron Chronicles this summer. You better be on the lookout.
Yeah, I mean, you got to work on that other book of yours first.
Oh shit! Like,
Oh.
ooh, took a shot right across the bow, huh?
But
I'll let him have it.
He's like, I'll let you have that.
thanks. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I was actually talking about this with the girlfriend last night. I was like, I'd be super pissed because she brought up the mic thing too. I was like, it's one thing to take a piece of artwork that I did, like take the Harley Quinn that I did. Yeah, that's gonna upset me that you took that, but not as much as if you take something that I built completely, from scratch, my character, my story, whatever. That's when you're really gonna get my attention.
I think though, see, for me, I grew up going to Dave Sims panels at Comic-Con, and Dave Sim, creator of Cerebus, used to make this statement. He's like, he's never trademarked Cerebus, ever. Didn't want to deal with filling out the paperwork, paying the money, fighting all the battles. He's like, look, I don't trademark them. If people do Cerebus shit, they're going to know I didn't do it. So he made it as much a part of him to do it that anyone else could, It's like,
Right.
look at Flappy Bird in video games. Guy takes Flappy Bird, million Flappy Bird clones. You know what I mean? You can't. And like the second Marvel starts doing all these movies, now DC's making movies that fit the Marvel mold, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing you can really do, man. Like, all you can do is either A, tell everyone about it, or B, you know what I mean? Like,
Make yours better.
or completely like don't give them any credit, you know, and then personally tell them, hey, knock the shit off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the
And
fans
that's
will they'll fight the battle for you. To be perfectly honest, you
well,
know.
it's not even just the fans, but I guess in the position of Mike, he's got the whole community behind him too. You know, like of us, friends and artists that we will back you up if something is legitimately wrong. So.
Right.
We're going to a rumble.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna put on my bowler hat and start.
Yeah, I
snapping
know, man. It
fingers.
just turns into like, like when I remember, and I'll wrap this up. When I was in, I used to see this all the time in school, grade school, mostly junior high, and a little less in high school. But the last time I really experienced this was my first night in processing in the army. They put us in this building in Fort Knox, and it's where you wait to go to basic training. So you're kind of like that's when in Stripes when they get their clothes and they get all their shit. It's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
period. They put it all in basic training in the movie to move up, but you're actually in processing. And I remember the first night we were there, there's this thing where like someone was missing some money. Now, if that money didn't turn up, they were just gonna take us all outside and work us all night until you know what I mean. We all suffered. So like this whole crowd of people get and then there's this one guy who's like all fucking put up the money just to end this shit. You know what I mean? And everyone looks up to him and that shit just goes it's like a lot of drama. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, dude, they're just gonna smoke us anyway. Like whether money's missing or not, like I know that's an integrity check and we all have to monitor that, but one person can't solve this problem. You catch my drift? Like
Right.
it really is just we all as a community have to remember when you steal from one person, anyone, and that's okay. We all should kind of be punished in a way, like in that scenario, to teach all of us to learn not to steal because we'll get fucked. But I don't know, dude. I don't know where I was going with that. So I just remember it was like
And
that
they-
crowd. That crowd gets around and we all rally behind it. And at the end of the day, it didn't mean anything. You know?
Right.
Like Mike will move on. You know what I mean? Fucking so and so. Rob Liefeld continues forever forward. The Earth moves round and round.
It's just a fun witch hunt.
Yeah, it's just fun to turn on this fucker. We got you. We got you.
We got you.
Yeah, we got you. So, all right, let's just wrap this all up. Brandon, where can we find you on the internet?
Leadheavy.com, on Twitter at leadheavy, Instagram leadheavy, and on DeviantArt at leadheavyart.
Andy, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, both Elvatron, ELVATRON. You can find me on Facebook. The name is Bon, Andy Bon, last name BOHN.
Great, and you can always find me, as always, Facebook, Twitters, Instagrams, Tumblrs, fucking whatever. Skechcraft, Sketch, the name of the podcast, CRAFT. Please give us a like on YouTube if you can. It always helps YouTube and fucking iTunes and everything else. I'll be back in 2 weeks, folks. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Skechcraft is recorded in front of a live internet audience and supported by listeners like you. Please be sure to leave a review on iTunes, like and share our Facebook page, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All links can be found at sketchcraft.com. That's Skechcraft, C-R-A-F-T, the name of the podcast.com. Remember, every little bit counts and it all helps to grow the show. Thanks.